Hello there everyone, and welcome to another round in the AOR PC GT3 Elite League. This is PC Tier 1, and we are here for round 2 of Season 10. I'm Fizzy, and once again back in the commentary box with you alongside the bear to end all bears. It is King-Kodiak.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. Yes, we are here for round number 2 of Season 10 here at Ruapuna Park, as we see Popsu really earning the style points there in the Audi. We have got 25 drivers with us this evening. What a pretty decent turnout. The one person we are missing is our race winner from last week. We do not have Heidi.
Really?
We indeed don't. But that is going to really open it up. Unless he joins us and in the qualifying session of which you currently find us. I do have a bit of a cough, so I may have to mute suddenly, which I'm sure Fizzy will be quite happy the fact he doesn't have to fight for airtime, which is what normally happens with anyone that commentates with me. They have to try and burst. Oh no, Heidi did actually make it. There he is.
Hey!
It was actually worried. It was actually a concern that Heidi wouldn't make it. But he has actually managed to get in with that glorious Z4 that he took victory last week. And, oh, we've actually just lost someone from the
I was going to say, we have 25 drivers in, and suddenly we're down to 24.
Indeed. But, so not only is this the first time that we have commentated around Ruapuna, but it will also be in the wet.
Oh, I mean, it's overcast conditions at the moment here in the qualifying session, but there is forecasted some drip drops falling down in the race, so that'll be very interesting indeed to see how that works out. I mean, the last wet race we had in the PC T1 GT3 League last season at Alton Park, that turned out to be quite a thriller. So
oh yes,
we will see how this one turns out. But yeah, we are currently in the qualifying session. The quality time reduced from 15 minutes to 10 minutes for this season, which means we are nearly halfway through, as we have 5.5 minutes left to go at Ruapuna Park, which is a circuit that I am, let's say you have Spa, which I am completely familiar with. I know every corner, I know all the corner names. This is the opposite. I have never seen it before in my life.
Well, my only exposure to this particular track has been through my various daft challenges that I have done before. Raced it in PCARS 1, done some things in PCARS 2, and that is it. I know absolutely nothing about this particular circuit. Wow, talking about getting the slide on, that was Heidi really throwing the Z4 round. He was very quick to reset and get back on the gas under 5 minutes to go, and that is why. But I brought up the maps, you can see how busy the track is. And as you can see, it's going to be very hard for our drivers to find a clear bit of track, as Heidi just comes back onto track and just slots behind one of the Lamborghinis. One bit of a correction, this was completely my fault. I assumed it was this man that I did actually announce this man, ironic, as the Tier 2 champion from last season. It was actually this man, Scott, who has just parked it brilliantly on that last turn.
Good timing.
Yeah, it was brilliant timing. So wholehearted apologies for that mistake. That was entirely my fault. And we back up to 25. It was Van Orman that, it's Van Orman that currently doesn't have a time on the board. So I wonder if it was him that had a bit of a connection problem, but he returns to us back in the Audi. So yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting.
Indeed. Seeing some comments in the chat that the stream is a bit choppy. I'm not really sure why that would be. I'm running exactly the same settings as last week, so if anyone has any suggestions for what I can do to improve that, then do let me know.
Probably YouTube having a bit of a mare. To be honest, this.
Yeah. I've reduced the bitrate slightly, but obviously this has been running nicely on this bitrate before, so yeah, we will see. Hopefully it sorts itself out a little bit, but yeah. Speed Demon, the man to beat so far in the qualifying session, less than a tenth of a second ahead of Heidi with 3 minutes to go. And Speed Demon was one of the guys that finished on the podium last week. He finished in 3rd. So he's got 38 points on the board. This man, though, Heidi's got the maximum 50 points on the board. Well, actually, it would have been 51 if he had also taken pole, but that was TX3 Storm that took the pole last time out. Finished 2nd. He's currently 5th. In this qualifying session. Last season's dominant champion, Jadier, he is provisionally 4th for this race, and he finished 6th place in the first race, which was a little bit surprising, considering how well he had done in Season 9.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but he is a couple of tenths up, nearly 3 tenths up on this particular lap. But he's not one of the Porsches directly ahead of him, so hopefully they won't hold him up. Dinder S returns, as we said before, a stalwart of Picard's seasons of old. He's just started a time lap then, currently in 6th. 7th is Villalobos in the Sister Z4. Only 2 of them. Whoa, that's someone getting very, very committed in the background there. Yeah, I'm having a... I just realised, I think I might have given you the wrong map here. I have. I've given you the wrong map as well. Unfortunately, Mr. Fizzy, I've just realised, but it's nearest, damn it, right. There's a corner called the Dipper that isn't in this layout, so for your reference, Fizzy, ignore that one.
Yeah, well, luckily this map doesn't have turn numbers, so at least it doesn't...
No, they don't. They're all named, and so none of them are... So we will get confused. And also, the map we have is upside down to the track map that's on the screen that, of course, isn't going to confuse us at all. There is Yuhan just coming around the final turn, the Rock Sweeper. Does he improve? Line is a little bit down the road. He does. Goes up to 7th. Speed Demon has gone into the pits. That is his day done. He will not have time to come out and do another lap. Out Alexis, currently in 9th position. He is coming through Jeff's. It's called Jeff's Corner. That's brilliant. Then into Crookham Nissan onto the Dunlop Straight. He's got one of the Audis already ahead of him. Scott, as previously mentioned, our Tier 2 champion from last season. What I'm seeing is a lot of people that they're running very loose setup. They want to throw the car in and get it to slide. That's quite interesting.
It really is. It's looking like actually a mixed sort of circuit in terms of what you need in terms of downforce, and obviously the main straight looks very long indeed. But you have a lot of twisty sections, and the main straight is the only majorly long straight. So. Yeah, I'd be expecting most of them to go for quite a bit of downforce on the car, but
that's Nagram getting out of the way.
It is indeed getting into the pits. So you can see on the scoreboard on the left-hand side, everyone that has the pit marker next to their name will not be improving their time. It's only 16 seconds to go in this session. There are still cars out on track. Nick Meader now coming towards the line to try to improve on his 13th position that he's got at the moment, and he does not. He's still within a second. The last man, in fact, within a second of the provisional pole man at the moment, which is still Speed Demon. But the Heidi and who's that just jumped up to 3rd place? Storm, of course, yeah. So the Heidi has not improved. He's back in the pits. Storm is the highest up man on the track that could possibly improve here. He's running just behind the Mercedes.
I think it's Dinder right ahead of him. It is indeed. So if Dinder is on a time lap, which we are assuming he is not obliged to get out of the way. He's just gone through the Crown Lift Carousel now through Jeff's Corner into Crookham Nissan onto the Dunlop Straight, and that was and that's the risk that these guys are running when they have such a massive amount of potential oversteer in the car. Now through the Rock Sweeper final turn, and Storm is in, so he will not be improving. Did Dinder improve from 7th? Answer is the line's such a long way down. He did not. He's only 100th of a second behind Villalobos, but he remains in 7th position. Who else is still out there? Nick Meadow in the McLaren.
I think that's still going. Because
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's been more than a lap time's worth since the checkered flag was waved for this qualifying session. So we do have a quali order at the moment, and there will be Speed Demon taking the second pole position of the season and the bonus point to go with it for the pole lap in this race at Ruapuna. So very impressive start to the event for him.
Absolutely. And I would think that people are going to crank the downforce a bit more when it's in the wet. I can't imagine people... It's going to be slidey enough already. I can't imagine they'll want even more slide.
No, I mean, I certainly wouldn't want that. So here is confirmation then. Speederman on pole just ahead of last week's winner, D. Heidi. Then last week's pole man, Storm, starting 3rd ahead of Jadir, the reigning champion. Ironic, Villalobos, Dinder, Yuhan, Alexis and Scott will be running out of the top 10. And then comes Nesterovic, Nagrom, Nikmiro, Popsu, Zal, Noah, Hunter, Tudesbek, Bo, Steve, Guibs, or something.
Gibbs.
Fab Iceman, Col McCoy, Berserker, and Mr. Van Ommen. So we did end up with a 25-man grid in the end. So whoever it was that lost connection early on managed to get back in, which is good to see.
Now, normally this track is really, really technical. You need a decent amount of downforce, which you would do in the wet anyway. But this track is quite tricky to overtake on this. It's such a... because of the nature of it. Like the first 2 turns, for instance, as you come off of the main straight and then into the first left-hander, you're trying to brake and turn at the same time, trying to get ready for the first turn. And there is how wet it is.
Oh, my.
That's going to be interesting for Flexor Pass corner, turn 2. Because you've got that right, the left-hand kink, you can see at the top right of the map, that's actually not named. And then you have the first heavy braking zone, but you're still kind of recovering from that left-hand kink at the first place. So it really unsettles the car. So it's very tricky in that respect. And of course, in the wet, I expect to see quite a few people off at that particular juncture. Then it's Castrol Straight down to Pothole, which is the next left-hander. Then the 180-degree tight turn is Kelford Chemtech corner, which I'll no doubt get wrong. And then we have that really twisty section, which is Fulton Hogan and the Crown Left Carousel. So that's right, left, then the 180 right, then leads you onto a really short straight to Jeff's corner, then the Crookham Nissan onto the Dunlop straight, then the Rock Sweeper that leads you to a complete lap.
Absolutely, and I'm looking at the in-game track map here, and the main straight, the track is relatively wide for side-by-side action, but then it really looks like it narrows throughout the rest of the lap, so that's going to be another challenge for these guys, not only to stay on track, but certainly when it comes to overtaking other cars as well. So of course we do have the rule in the league for this season that all drivers will have to make a pit stop at some point after the second racing lap and no later than 5 laps from the end. So even if it's wet, they will have to do pit stop. But you expect that in these conditions there's a chance that it could dry up towards the end. So with that in mind, you'd probably want to wait with your mandatory pit stop for as late as possible into the race.
Could well be. And of course the potential for damage is that much higher as well. So we kind of touched on this last week. At what point do you play your pit stop? Do you play it early to get it out of the way, or do you risk running later and then have to deal with damage later on? If you run it early, you then have to keep it very, very clean, which didn't bother De Heide in the slightest. My God, did he make that work. But away they go then. Let's see, for those unfamiliar with the league, we have a rolling start. That's why nobody moved when the lights went out. The leader, as you can see, is our WB Speed Demon 91. He will lead the field around. Actually, Speedy 1, there we go. So 80 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour. He will lead the field around the track until they get to usually the beginning of Sector 3, which is, I believe, where Jeff's corner is. And that's when they will form the 2x2 line and reduce to 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. And when they return to the start-finish grid, that is when Speed Demon can floor it to signify the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the track map, or the track just visually at the moment. I have a fear that this is going to take me all the race to figure out where the corners are. And where the drivers are when we skip to them. But anyway, that's we'll see how that goes. I will quickly, on the formation lap, just bring up the standings after the first race, just to remind everyone how it went in round 1. De Heide leading the way, 50 points to Storm's 45. Storm got that bonus point for pole position last time out. Then Speedem, the current pole man in this race, in third in the championship ahead of Scott, the reigning Tier 2 champion. Then Villalobos and the reigning champion Jadier sitting in 6th at the moment. I will be starting this race in racing 4th, which will be interesting to see. Popsu 7th in the championship, but is way down the field at the start of this race, and then Zal, Bo and Zenny in the top 10. So, we are getting ready to start round 2 of season 10 here in the PC Tier 1 League of the AOR.
Look how
GT3.
far over De Heide is! Wow!
It's rubbing the side of Speed Demon, and here we go. Speed Demon putting his foot down to lead the field away into the first corner. De Heide having to react to him and doing it slightly late. I think he's got a car now. He's still ahead. he managed to get ahead, keep ahead of Storm through the first kink to keep hold of second place, and no contact at the front of the pack, which is good to see. Jardier hanging on to 4th as well, just behind the top 3. There was a bit of side-by-side just behind him, but that seemed to have sorted itself out. I think it was Johan in 7th. He has gained a position, I think. Oh, Storm is running very wide there, and he's split on the grass as well, losing out to Jardier, who's up to 3rd. Storm staying, though, just ahead of Ironic, which is crucial for him to lose as little as possible when you make a mistake like that. And again is wide, though, this time staying off the grass at least, and keeping the momentum enough to not lose the position this time out, as my co-commentator is trying to stay alive after this half a lap.
Oh, we have had a spinner, though. It's Steve in the blue Porsche. I did see there was somebody stationary on the inside of that twisty section from Fulton Hogan to the carousel, and it is the blue Porsche. It doesn't look like there's any damage on the car. So, yeah, it looks like it's been pretty clean sailing so far. Sailing being the operative word. That is a hell of a lot of rain out there. But, yeah, that's why Tahidi was so far over. He wanted to cut Storm off. Jardi's actually got that 3rd place as well. So he's on pretty good form at the moment. But yeah, Tahidi just wanted to slot straight into the slipstream of Speed Demon. It looks like he's going to... It looks like he was sizing up for a move, and Speed Demon's off! That's exactly what I thought would happen on the first racing lap, when obviously everyone was very, very cautious as they came into that turn for the first time. But of course, when you've had a racing lap, the adrenaline's going, it's so easy to fly off the road, and that's exactly what Speed Demon's done. He's down to 3rd. Jardier, our current champion, now up to 2nd position. It's going to be a pretty hard job to fend off those behind. I mean, that's 3 Audis in a row. There's 2, 3, and 4. Oh, go on.
Yeah, Ewan is battling behind his side-by-side, I think, with a Scott there, battling for 6th, sorry. He already gained 7 in this race, and he's trying to go around the outside of Scott. There's a little bit of contact, actually, but Ewan manages to get that move done, as Scott had to back out after touching the side of his car. So Ewan has gained 2 positions from where he started, so he's looking to make up for what... either make up for what could have been a disappointing qualifying compared to maybe what he wanted, but also maybe it's the fact that he's faster in the rain. We will have to wait and see, but certainly a great start for Johan to this race.
Absolutely, Scott is really piling the pressure on. You saw already Johan went to the middle of the track to defend any possible inside move from Scott, so he's really feeling the pressure then in the Audi against that blue Mercedes. Up to the front, and Tahidi's not managed to get too far ahead of the current champion. There is the Z4. That's not even a second between the top 2. And again, it's not even 2 seconds down, separating the first 4. And there's a Lambo. It's ironic. He is representing. Representing the Italians at the front there, and on similar lap pace as well. It's a bit difficult to tell the outright pace at the moment, but they are starting to settle into their rhythm. Of course, Speed Demon had that mistake at the first corner last time, lost him a couple of seconds. That Lambo is right up there with that pack of Audis. Can Tahidi use this opportunity whilst the next cars are squabbling? And look at that in the background. Who was that? That was side by side. It's Popstu and Nagram. And it's goodness me, the Audi trying to again that side by side move we saw between Scott and Johan last time around. They're still side by side.
Oh my!
They've gone through one turn still. Side by side now through the second turn, and now the 3rd turn. That's now into the carousel. The Audi then have the inside. Now the Lambo's not letting that go. Brilliant move there by Nagram. He's holding on. He's going to have the outside for the next turn, and that is finally the position won by Popsu. That was great battling by both of them to keep on the road. It's pretty narrow there as well, and in the wet. That is top stuff.
Wow, side by side for like half the lap there, and eventually Popsu wins out, the reigning runner-up of this league, of course, from Season 9. And that is a fantastic move. He also has had a great start of this race, picking up some positions in the first few laps. So Speed Demon dropping down to 3rd place after running wide on the 2nd racing lap. But he seems to have collected himself after that and keeping up with Jardier and Tahidi, as we have Villalobos into the pits. Last week's 5th place man, I believe, and Tahidi's teammate, of course. And that is very interesting, of course. Last week we saw a lot of pitters very early on trying to do different strategies with this mandatory pit stop that I have to do at some point in the race. But so far Villalobos, I think, is the only man into the pit lane to take that different strategy. It's a risky one if it turns out to dry up later in the race. which the forecast says that it might do, but then again it might not get quite dry enough for a tyre change.
Who knows? Heidi was really deep into the carousel. That's brought Jardier within a second as well. He can't be affording. He cannot afford to be making mistakes. He's still up on his best lap, though. Interestingly, so the first man into the 125s. But look at that. He hasn't got any distance between himself and that chasing pack of Audis behind. And where has... Oh, dear. Ironic has made a mistake. He's down in 12th. He's lost 10 seconds this lap alone. And I think we're going to be seeing that a lot. Is as drivers start to get into the rhythm, there's the potential for a mistake is so high in these conditions. So, yeah, the leading Lambo has fallen down the field, sadly.
Yeah, so he was running 5th. This is going to get him move back, though, on Nick Mito, who had a poor exit of the final corner. So, something bad then happened for Ironic, which of course means Johan has moved up to another position to 5th. Pops up to 8th as well. So a lot of people gaining from Ironic's mistake. Oh, that's interesting lines going on there. Speedman running a bit deep, having to get it turned round out wide on that corner, but managed to get it done. And Storm also managing to avoid driving it inside of him.
I mean, he could have opted to go for that. The way that the live track system works, it doesn't always appear. We've had it before where the water levels that have collected on the track don't always appear, correct, but the same to us spectators as it does to the drivers. So it could be that he's avoiding those apexes to avoid the standing water.
Interesting, yeah. That's something to keep in mind. That's still a completely different place on the track back there, but there was an Audi facing not quite the correct way, and that was probably Colin McCoy. That looked like his delivery anyway.
No, Colin McCoy's still right. I was trying to identify that's whoever that is miles off. It was Villalobos. Oh, he's just out.
No. I think it was Colin McCoy because Villalobos just pitted. Yeah, I think it was Colin McCoy that was backwards. Is that a bit of damage, or is that just his livery?
I'm not entirely sure. We have actually lost Villalobos, so really? He's actually disconnected. That's why I thought it was him to start with.
Right.
So yeah, I think you are right. It was Colin McCoy. Yeah, well, I think we made this observation last week that it's difficult to tell whether that's actually damage to the car or just pattern in the livery.
Yeah, I think it's actually pattern, but it looks very much like scrapes on the car. Anyway, back to the front we go. From the back to the front, Andy Heide still leading the way, heading towards his second consecutive win out of 2 possible wins in season 10 of this league.
Yeah, he's going to have to work hard for this. To still, Jardier is within a second. Oh, and again, you see him getting very twitchy, and that's where we saw the BMW, the Z4 rather, CB a little bit unsettled in that carousel turn. It's such a slow corner; it feels so clumsy in the wet. So, yeah, it's not surprising that he might struggle a little bit just to get the power down. And that pack of Audis is just looming, ready to strike. Johan fallen off the back of that pack a little bit. That's, 3.2 seconds, give or take, between himself and the next 3. There is Scott, the lead Mercedes, with Nesterowitz, the lead Lamborghini, then 6th and 7th, respectively. Everyone carrying on their ways then. Popsu just behind the Lambo. Then you've got Nagram in short succession in the multicolored Lambo, and then Noah in the top 10 in the Audi.
Absolutely, a lot of Audis about, but the lead car is a BMW Z4. And then we have Bo running in 14th position in the Mercedes, one of the Mercedes in the field. He's also got a Mercedes following him down the main straight through the first kink. And the heavy braking for turn 2, and the Mercedes behind Dinder. Oh, he's drifting and he's collected. He's collected at a Lexus there in that Lamborghini, who's ended up side by side with the Renault of Berserker as a result of that one. Luckily for the Lexus, though, there was a left-hander coming up, which means he's been able to keep hold of that one. Van Omen looked like he was going to take advantage possibly on the Renault, but he was a bit too far back, and now the Renault's lost it on the braking. Van Omen avoiding him by cutting underneath, just about not hitting the front of that sole Renault in the race. Unfortunately for him, he's rejoined. Yeah, he keeps dropping down the field and is rejoined in 22nd position. And that is out of the points, of course, top 20 score points. And Berserker, who took that sole Renault to the final point last week, 20th place.
Zal's just had his pit stop, so it was a quick stop and go, literally, for him. And Jardier is keeping that gap down to the Z4. And Jardier, actually, we found the top three. Four of the three of the top four getting 25s, and actually all of them seemingly now closing back in onto Heidi. So yeah, 25.7.8 was Storm. He was the quickest one. He's actually the back of this particular conga line. So on the top of his car. Oh, and that again, that seems to be a very wide line. Whether it's by design or not, the speed team is taking. Again, he could be trying to avoid standing water, but that puts him at real risk from Storm, rather. So, yeah, if he manages to get the power down, which is, again, very difficult in these conditions, yeah, he could really try and capitalize on that unusual line. But look at Heidi. He's right underneath. Jardier's right underneath his rear wing. So he's really under a lot of pressure now to try and maintain that lead. This isn't what we saw from Heidi last week. He pitted very early and made it work brilliantly well. He was never really challenged from that point on. Very, very different story here.
Yeah, absolutely. Last week, his the way he was gaining all those positions in the race was from pitting early, running in clear air, while a lot of the other guys were running close together. And with that, sort of doing a massive undercut. Of course, running really, really impressive pace while doing so. He's still got clear air, of course, in this race, being now at the front of the pack, but he's got those three daunting Audis right in his mirrors, running just behind him. So the Z4 leading the three Audis along, and of course the reigning champion as well, being the man closest to challenging him for that lead at the moment. That is, it's certainly some pressure on him at the moment. But
yeah, we've lost another, unfortunately. We're down to 23 now. And again, look at Speed Demon now. He's either trying to defend from Storm, or he's just opting to take a narrower line through that particular corner, but he's really leaving him vulnerable to attack from Storm. If he just overcooks a little bit, we saw Storm get the nose right there, right alongside. So Speed Demon is playing that a little bit more risky. Jardier was that someone on the... Oh no, that was a marshal post. Sorry, I thought there was a car on the inside of the track there, but it was actually the marshal post. Oh, again, look at that from Storm on the bonnet of the trailing Audi from this pack, and he's right there. He's right in position. There's no particularly fast corners here, so downforce isn't particularly crucial. So he's not losing anything per se. He's just getting a face full of spray. Oh, what he's going to try a wider line. You can see the water is gathering there on the inside apex of that final turn, the rock sweeper. So he can't cut in as early as he probably would like to make a wider line through that corner work. And they are struggling with their lap times at the moment. I think the conditions are the main contributing factor to that. So yeah, Heidi's got a lot of work to do, and for quite a long time.
Oh, look at that though! Is that a poor exit out of turn 2? Has Heidi, can Jardier get alongside? No, not quite. Into turn 3, that was very close indeed, running through that puddle over the bump, and Heidi is still remaining in the lead. But is that the first sign that he might be...
Maybe struggling a bit.
Yeah, maybe cracking a little bit under pressure. I mean, I certainly... Oh god, what's going on?
Speed Demon, he has made that mistake, exactly as I thought. He's lost that third place. I just saw him on the grass. Now Johan straight on his case, as Van Ommen has chosen to take his pit stop as well. Another battle to also keep an eye on is 8th to 11th. From Ironic's view, that's what it is. It's 5 cars. Nesterowicz, actually it's Popsu, beg your pardon, leads this particular conga line in the Audi with Nesterowicz, Nagram, Noah and Ironic all in very, very short succession. So they've got a battle there. There's still loads of battles, and I think it's like we saw last week. I think we're going to be having battling all the way through.
Yeah, certainly looks like it. Speed Demon with his second mistake of the race could be costly. He's now running just ahead of his teammate, of course. Well, presumably with the same livery. Still haven't. I didn't have time really to do the graphic for the team standing stuff last week. I'll make sure to do it for next week so that you can all get a visual sort of look at all the teams for this season. That could be an interesting championship to follow as well as we carry on through these 10 rounds. But for now, let's focus on the drivers in this race. Heidi has extended the gap slightly again after his little mistake on the previous lap. Jardier trying to get close in the braking there, but he's very close still. And Storm, I mean, it was visually looking like Storm throughout the last few laps was a little bit quicker than Speed Demon perhaps. So now that Speedhim is out of the way, can Storm potentially put some pressure on Jardier? Be interesting to see.
Yeah, absolutely, he's right there. He's half a second behind the leading Audi at the moment, as Alexis now has brought his car through the pits, getting his stop out of the way. We haven't seen any major crashes. I mean, unlike last week's circuits, unlike where were we? I forgot the name of it. Sonoma.
Last week, Sonoma.
Yes, I could see the track, but the name just completely blanked out of my mind. Yeah, so unlike Sonoma, the barriers are nowhere near the circuit. As you can see, it's just really the perimeter wall, and if you're unlucky, you might hit a marshal's post. So, and as Storm is now starting to get the hammer down, he's just set his quickest lap with a 1:25.3. That might even be the quickest lap we've seen in the race so far. That's put him right with Jardier. Jardier is only half a second behind Heidi, so that Z4 is doing okay. It's leading the race, obviously, but you know, it's not the gap that Heidi would have liked. And there you see that Speed Demon in the background as well. He did a 25.7, so he's keeping pace with these guys, and he could well close back in the next few laps.
Yeah, definitely. He's had the best. Actually, Stormus. Wow, 25.3. Yeah, so he's absolutely on it at the moment. But it's you know, when it on a track like this and in conditions like these, it's really hard to force an overtake, just sort of naturally the way we would expect an overtake. When you're running with drivers that are very, very close to your own pace. So it's really about avoiding mistakes, because if you make a little mistake, that's what will give the car behind an opportunity. As we saw with Jardier a couple of laps ago when Heidi was a little bit out of shape, he nearly got alongside, and that's why you have to stay close and just keep the pressure on. Try to make the car ahead think about you a bit more than the racetrack, and then capitalize if that little mistake does kick in. And Jardier is doing a good job of that at the moment. Storm as well, staying really close to the top two, and I think any of these three really could win the race, and Speed Demon certainly not out of it either, with the pace he's been showing as well.
Yeah, we're barely quarter way through the race, and there are huge lakes being formed. You actually saw how the nose of Storm just twitched over to the left. He probably did want to make his car visible, his Jardier's mirrors, but it suddenly pulled as he hit the water, and there is a huge river coming across the road just at that left kink on the main straight, and that's just the point you want to turn in. So the drivers have to be very, very careful how they go through there, and look at how compact these guys are now. We saw Heidi has only had about 1.5 second lead all race at best, and that of course has gone. Storm 1:25.9, and actually, you know, Speed Demon was the quickest of the top 5. Yuhan not far behind either, so Speed Demon could close in on this particular pack and actually bring Yuhan with him potentially. So potentially, yeah. And there is Yuhan. You've just seen the second red and white Audi come into the shot. So as they come around the final corner, anyone going to pit? No, they're not. And again, you can see, and Heidi now feeling the need to defend that more inside line. You could just about see, that's easier to see there. You could see how Heidi had to position his car right in the middle of the road. Oh, Jardier, so very, very close. I think he hit his braking point fine. I think Heidi was a little bit more cautious through that turn than Jardier was expecting, as that was a 26.4 for the Z4 and 26.2 for Jardier. So whatever he didn't like about his car last week seems to have gotten sorted out, as Storm's gone very deep into that particular turn. And again, Jardier looking to really pile the pressure on the Z4. He wants that lead, and he is determined to get it. Oh, and the tail twitching on the Z4. You're not really going to be able to do much through here, although saying that, we've seen already 2 instances of people going side by side through these particular corners. So that is completely wrong, and someone's off. So Alexis has gone off the road in the Lambo. I just saw a stationary dot on the map. So he's back up and running again, so he won't be getting in the way of the lead 3. Heidi is doing everything he can, and there you see Speed Demon is closing them down. Of course, as they battle, they slow each other up. There you see is Yuhan around that final turn once again. There are other battles going on, but of course this one is absolutely so close. Jardier now trying to get a decent run. He didn't have a very good run actually out of the rock sweeper, so that's going to give De Heidi that little bit of breathing space he needs. But again, he still felt the need to put his car right in the middle of the road. There's that big lake that is forming at that left-hand kink, and no such dramas this time around. Very similar lap time. Speeding was nearly a second. In fact, Speeding was a second quicker than Jardier last time around. So he is catching with this particular pack, but he's going to face exactly as you said earlier, Fizzy. He's going to face the same problem. He's going to want to try and force the mistake. Oh, De Heidi, that's very slippery. That's very sideways for you, sir, but he has managed to keep it on the road. Unless, of course, that is his chosen line. That would be interesting. Yeah, you never know. They're actually gaining quite quickly on out of Lexus. Lamborghini, he, of course, will be under blue flag conditions, so he'll have to get out of the way. Oh, goodness me. I think Jardier had to jump to the middle of the track there. He really closed in on De Heidi. Where's that Z4's pace gone? He was really looking like he was stretching a lead early on, and he is under all sorts of pressure. We haven't seen any accidents happen, so what has happened to that Z4?
It's hard to say, really. It's certainly something that has made the Audis a little bit more feisty now at this point in the race. That's, you know, it looks. Oh my goodness! Storm trying to force himself on the inside around the final corner. How did he do that? How did he do that? Was Jardier running a little bit wide maybe to avoid hitting or touching at De Heidi, which is done several times already in recent laps, and all of a sudden he was a little bit too wide, and Storm out of nowhere just slipping underneath, and Jardier could do nothing about it.
What a stunning move by Storm. I think, yeah, I'm sure Jardier is asking how the hell did you manage that? That was a cracking move by the silver Audi, and now he's straight on De Heidi's case. Storm half a second faster than the Z4 last time around, so I wouldn't be surprised if De Heidi, unless of course they have an inkling on when the weather's going to change, if of course the weather is going to change. We don't know that in the commentary box. We have no idea what the weather settings are. It's not like we can check now as we're very much in the race. But you can see on board from Jardier, you can see how De Heidi is staying right in the middle. So that serves two purposes. It tries to defend from Storm, who seems to have really picked up the pace at the moment, and it avoids where the standing water's gathering on the apexes. But I think that's more defensive than it is avoidance. So De Heidi is really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, Storm just looks really on it right now. It's just, well, all of these guys look like they're right on the edge. I mean, it's super impressive to see the way these drivers drive, especially in these kind of conditions. Storm with the spray from the Heidi's Z4 right in his face as well. The window wiper going mad, trying to give him as much visibility as possible going into the first couple of corners here. But he's all over the back of the race leader. Of course, these guys finished first and second in the round one at Sonoma last week. De Heidi first, Storm second, the same order as it is right now. But they never in that race had an on-track battle with each other, as De Heidi taking a defensive line, running a bit deep maybe as well. No, I think he's got that line covered quite nicely indeed. Not giving Storm a chance to go for a dive into that hairpin. But there's a lot of these tiny puddles running, or sort of tiny rivers running across the track, several places around this lap. So that's I wonder how much that is really unsettling the car. But it certainly looks quite scary to run over those.
It depends on where they are. I mean, if they're on a straight without too much bother, if you're just not needing to brake, then you could just go through it as long as you keep the wheel straight. Oh, and there's a bit of a tail moment there by Storm. But that one that is on the main straight is just as they want to turn left. So that one is really awkwardly placed. They had to be very, very careful about how they do that. Storm then is still keeping the pressure on. Jardier had fallen a little bit off the back of Storm and De Heidi at the moment. 26-1 for the top two, 26-0 for Jardier, 26-8. So Speed Demon's fallen a little bit off the back of that. Johan is on the back. Actually, the camera looking the wrong way. Johan's is kept up with his teammate. They have both gotten within 4 seconds of the top three. I think we can risk having a look further down the field. And stay in that. Storm is sizing up for a move. He wants the inside of that Kelford Chemtech corner, and he's got him. Oh, is he going to make Jardier go through as well? No, not quite. The blackout, he couldn't quite follow through. But that really made Heidi, obviously forced him off the line. It didn't look like there was any contact on that occasion as Dinder S now brings his Mercedes in for his pit stop. But yeah, look at that. Oh, Jardier had to go a little bit further outside than he would have liked. He's looking for a,
great exit though. I don't think the straight is long enough.
No, there's no real straight there, so there's nothing he could have done as they come through Jeff's corner now into Crooked Nissan. And that is the back of Alexis's Lamborghini they're catching up with. So, oh, careful, Jardier. You're not going to find any more grip out there, sunshine, I can assure you that. And again, still, I'm surprised that Heidi's not pitting. I'm a little surprised by that. There's no breaks in the clouds either, so there's no indication at the moment that there's going to be any weather changes. We are fast approaching halfway in the race.
Yep, and Storm is pulling away in the lead. Quick shout out, by the way, to the 60 viewers that we have on the stream at the moment. Thanks to you all for joining us. Make sure you press a like on the video if you're enjoying what you are seeing right now. There's a bit of debate going on in the chat that Storm's overtake on Jardier a couple of laps ago wasn't a bit on the aggressive side. Apparently there was a little tap to the side of Jardier, maybe even a corner cut, which I didn't really see because our camera, well, obviously it happened very quickly and the camera was a little bit far away. But yeah, of course the drivers do have the opportunity to take incidents to the stewards panel after the race if they feel aggrieved by whatever has happened to them on the track. So you see, if Jardier does have a problem with it, then I might see that happen. But for the time being, Storm did make the move, and then he made a clean move on De Heide to now be in the lead of the race, and he's got a 1.5 second gap as a Lamborghini backbucker at a Lexus, I believe, is spinning just in front of second and third place, luckily getting off the racing line before they got collected. That must have been a little bit scary, especially for De Heide, who had that happening right in front of him.
That's one way to get out of the way.
Yeah, that's an interesting, I mean, at least it's getting a lot of cars lapping out at the same time, so that's something.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of an extreme way of jumping off the racing line for a blue flag.
That's another thing, actually, I want to mention. Of course, with this being a very short lap and the pit stop taking quite a while, if you are a car, especially a bit further down the field, it's very risky to do a pit stop at this point while the leaders are still out, because you could end up getting back out on track in a place where you have to then let leaders through and get lapped and all these kind of things, as we are seeing De Heide again go defensive, this time from Jardier, who is wanting to get back into second spot, still running in the middle of the track is De Heide. The pace of that Z4 that was looking so fast at the start of the race, it's run out a little bit by the looks of it. Storm now 2.5 seconds out in front, so De Heide is really dropping pace, 26.8 last time out, which a lot of the drivers further down the field is faster than him at this particular moment in time.
Speed Demon and Yuhan have caught the back of that fighting pair as well. There is Storm just running off into the distance, living up to his namesake in these conditions. Now Speed Demon staring at the back of Jardier once again. Jardier a little deep, but hasn't cost him anything. He wants, again, the car just getting a little twitchy on the exit of the Rock Sweeper, not giving him the pace he wants. But the Z4's had a pretty good run, so no possibility of changing unless, of course, De Heide flies off the road, which, of course, he doesn't. So those two positions staying as they are, with Yuhan on the back of that pack. There he is, and Jardier again having a look. He's wanting that Z4. He needs a good run from here. He needs that's pothole, and now he's jumping to that inside line. We saw.
Oh, huge puddle there though on the inside. If he was to go for that very tight sort of dive bomb line, then he would have had to run through that huge puddle before the apex.
It caused the nose to just pitch to the left. And he's trying to brake, and that would have actually just caused him to lock up a bit. That would have unsettled the car, and he was lucky he didn't actually tap the back of the Z4, but they didn't, of course, and on they go. Nick Mino in the pits. We've had Ironic and 2 Desert Pack also come through the pits as well. So a few people getting their pit stops out of the way. There is Speed Demon, there is Yuhan. Let's have a look further down the field. There is Scott, a little bit lonely at the moment, 5.3 behind Yuhan. and almost the same, 4.6 ahead of Popso. So he is looking to continue on his merry way. Just keep an eye on Jardier. Does he look to pass? Not at the moment. And we've got the Speed Demon, I think, has come in.
Oh, interesting. That's quite crucial.
Yeah.
In from 4th place then. That's the highest runner we've seen in the pits so far in the race.
It is indeed. So Jardier didn't get as good a run from the Rock Sweeper as Z4. 25.3 on the board there by Storm. So he is really running away now. 4 seconds is the lead. And again, another opportunity for Jardier. He's been looking to do the move that Storm did in the Calvert Camtech corner, and no, opts not to go for that one this time around. There's Popsy now up, elevated into 6th position, 4.3 behind Scott, 8 ahead of this man Noah, who's got Speed Demon, who's just come out. He's come out in 8th position, so again, a pretty quick stop for him. Who's got Nagram in the multicolored Lambo right behind. There is Nestero. It's rounding up the top 10. And as I've looked away, Jardier's got him. Jardier's actually managed to do it in that twisty section. Fulton Hogan and the carousel. He has demoted the Z4 down to 3rd. So now we'll start to see the true pace of that Audi.
Yeah, but all of these laps running behind the Heidi since Storm got through means it's now 5 seconds off the lead of the race. Storm has been running absolutely supreme pace as the Heidi comes in. He finally has had enough, whether it's of the tires or whatnot. Of course, the drivers don't have to do a tire change, and they don't have to do any fuel additions if they start the race with enough fuel to end the race, but they just have to get into the pit box, stop, and go back out. And then, of course, if they want to do a tire change, then they can. The mandatory pit stop will have to be served by at least stopping in the box. So Johan is in as well from what was 4th, but a net 5th place as he was running behind Speed Demon. Let's see where Johan will be compared to Speed Demon, and Speed Demon is actually ahead of the Heidi as well. So Speed Demon has jumped the Heidi, which means he is in a net 3rd position. The Heidi coming out in a net 4th and on track in 8th, just ahead of Johan. Yeah, which is crucial.
Absolutely. So there is, I think the Heidi was waiting for the halfway stage of the race to get that stop done. Bo has come in the white Mercedes. He's doing a bit of lawn mowing as well on the way down to the pits. Oh, it looked like he hit the wall there. Yeah. It's possibly a bit of lag there. So we've still got several battles going on. So we have a battle 5, 6, and 7. Noah, Speed Demon, and Nagra. Of course, Speed Demon having been through the pits recently. There's the next one down the road. You can see it is Johan and Heidi. And then you've got Fab Iceman. That is a lapped car directly behind him, I think. No, it isn't. Beg your pardon. That is Gibbs that is right with him in the Audi, with Nesterowicz not too far behind as well. So that is that battle. That's it's on board from Nesterowicz's Lambo. So that's battle for 10th, and the next battle is actually a 4-car battle here. Now this is a Dinderes, Hunter, Bo, and Berserker. Oops, and that's the Lambo. That's not Bo, that is the Hunter that got slightly onto the grass. I assume he was trying to avoid contact with Dinderes in the Silver Merc.
Did look like it. These guys battling for the final few available points positions, fighting tooth and nail for whatever they can get out of this race for their championship positions. And Bo running in 20th at the moment, very close behind that rainbow Lamborghini of the Hunter, who did very well in that touring car league that we just finished a couple of weeks ago in the break between the GT3 seasons.
I'm
quite
still
gone up to speed.
Yeah. Actually,
Oh,
Storm is catching up to the battle that we've just been seeing. There is Berserker. He's running the sole Renault in this league. He's actually got race leader Storm bearing down on them. Does the Silver Audi come in? No. Actually, 2 of that pack, that's Hunter and Berserker, both came in. So that's a couple of easy passes for Storm. Jade is not gaining at all. 25.6 for Storm. What is it for Jade? It's now 6.5 seconds between the pair. So 26.2 for Jade. So there's traffic involved in that, yes, but I suspect it's the conditions that is the biggest contributing factor. Scott now up to 3rd in the blue Mercedes, as he's just navigated one of the Rainbow Lambos. Popso, the only other race winner from last season, in 4th position. So himself 3 points, or about 4 seconds to Scott, about 8 seconds or so to Noah. Noah finds himself still in the lead of this particular three-way battle. Noah, Speed Demon, and Nagrim.
This is not ideal for Speed Demon because, of course, having pitted, Noah has not pitted, and now he is stuck behind him. Let's see if Noah actually wants to put up a fight, which is not really for net position in the race. As go, the Lamborghini is off.
Yeah. That's who I was trying to identify. That's actually, is that Alexis again? No. Yeah, it was. It was Alexis again.
A lap down.
He has really struggled. He has desperately struggled in these conditions.
Really wrong for him. He, of course, had a decent season last time out. He finished 12th in the first race, but it's all gone wrong for him here in the rain at Ruapuna Park, unfortunately. But of course, it's not with this many amazing drivers in the league. There's not space for everyone to have a good race in at any given time. So someone has to bite the sour apple or whatever you say.
Absolutely, 25.5 again. Storm is a second faster nearly than anywhere near him. Jardier 26.4. It's still falling off the mats. Now 7 seconds for our Season 9 champion. Between himself and Storm, having an absolute cracker in these conditions.
Crazy pace. Just crazy.
And it's been like that lap after lap as Nagrim now comes in. So that's gets DeHeidi's tail sorted out. So, assumedly, a quick stop for the Rainbow Lamborghini. But yeah, I mean, where was Storm? I haven't got the results. What was Storm last time out?
Yeah, so he was the man who took pole last time out, and then he finished second after DeHeidi did that huge undercut with his pit stop.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, very much roles reversed, although DeHeidi now down at 7th. There's Nesterowicz has brought his car in. That's the white Merc of... I've forgotten who's running the white Mercedes. No. No. Again, I'll remember by the final round probably, or when the season's finished. So
it's optimistic.
Is it Bo? Yes, it's Bo. So remember slightly too late there, but that's the story in my life. So
saw someone in the pits actually. There might have been Nesterowicz. Yeah, I think Nesterowicz just come out of the pits. There he is indeed. Just behind Bo, which is interesting. Has Bo pitted? I'm not sure.
I don't think he has, but I've been trying to keep tabs on. I should have. I actually intended to bring like a notepad with me to write down who pitted.
I think we might need that for future races. It's hard to keep track of at this stage who was pitted and who hasn't. I'm sure some of the guys watching might be having more of a clue than us actually at this point.
As Storm then getting the back of that silver Mercedes, that's Dinder S. A 17th place that Storm is looking to put a lap on. Of course, Storm has not been to the pit yet, but with that pace, I wouldn't bother. Leave it to the very last minute, which has to be no later than lap 39 before anybody does their stop. And if you're a second faster than anybody else, carry on. Why not? Why upset the rhythm? And rhythm is very, very important, especially in the wet.
Indeed. So, Smoking Puppy asking for a bit of an update. This has been away for 20 minutes. We are now on lap 28 out of 44 in this race, which means we are over halfway. There's been quite a few cars into the pit lane. But Storm has made his way up to the lead of the race by 2 overtakes. He passed Jardier, first of all, a little bit aggressively maybe, according to some. And then he passed DeHeidi as well. DeHeidi's now gone in the pits. Jardier is still running out there in a second position, but now 8 seconds of Storm. Must be running fantastic pace. Well, ever since he got to the front of the pack, really. Scott running third at the moment, but he has yet to pit. Popsu as well in fourth. He still needs to come through for his mandatory pit stop. Same with Noah in fifth, who's still keeping Speed Demon behind him and is actually pulling away from him now. I wonder if Speed Demon maybe... Yeah, I'd assume that Speed Demon's had another little mistake. We saw him have 2 little mistakes at the start of the race, and maybe another one has dropped him a couple of seconds and into the clutches of DeHeidi again. Of course, Speed Demon jumping DeHeidi at the pit stop phase.
Yeah, he lost 3 seconds that last lap, so DeHeidi making himself known in the mirrors of the Audi. Oh, that looked quick from that perspective, but under control there for DeHeidi in 7th position. Was leading for quite a while and then started to fall off the pace before his particular stop at lap 23. And then Fab Iceman, who we haven't seen a great deal of in this particular race, in that radioactive coloured Porsche.
Yes. Good way to put it. I do like seeing a Porsche on the field again. That looks nice as well.
Gibbs again. I don't think we saw a great deal of. Gibbs actually in that Thrustmaster coloured Lamborghini. Audi rather.
Great livery, I have to say, and of course bringing to the fore AOR's new sponsor, Thrustmaster.
Yes.
Jump in there.
Indeed. Yuhan, who was right with Speed Demon, he's lost out because he's now down in 10th position. And Speed Demon, of course, 6 positions up and about 11 seconds further up the road. Steve in the blue Porsche, I don't think he's been in the pits yet. We saw him have a mistake very early on in the race, on lap 1 or 2 or so. Ironic, he has been through the pits. He is in 12th. And the Lambo very short, followed very shortly by Nagram. Nick Mino in the McLaren, he has been through, along with 2 days back. Pretty much everybody from this point downwards has been through the pits. Van Orman, the ACR coloured Audi. Dinda in the silver Merc we were seeing earlier with Nesterowicz. And that we commented last week on that beautiful livery on the Lambo, and I unashamedly still enjoy it. There is the white Merc of Bo. Oh, we have actually lost another from the race. There is Hunter in the multicoloured Lamborghini with Gunnar McCoy in 21st and Berserker in the Renault at the back of the field.
Yeah, so of course quite early in the race we unfortunately lost to Villalobos from this race. I think Zal was the other second man we lost, because I then saw him in the YouTube chat for a bit, so that's unfortunate as well. And now we have lost some unknown third party.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that sounds very disingenuous, but when you've got this many names, and obviously we're trying to focus on everything that's going on, it's quite difficult to spot which one is missing unless they highlight themselves in the chat, which is the normal way, to be honest, that we figure out who it is when they highlight it for themselves. Speed Demon is putting the pressure on Noah, who let's say hasn't been through the pits yet. Ooh, Speed Demon steady. It's a little deep into the rock sweeper. He's looking to get a decent. There's a lake forming there as well on the exit of that rock sweeper. That is going to really hinder anyone trying to do that cutback move. But it looks like it's giving Speed Demon the momentum. You saw that Noah had to go to the inside line. Yeah, the camera looking completely the wrong way, and that's. Dahidi still in touch a little bit, although Dahidi actually matched Speed Demon's lap. Speed Demon was 4 tenths quicker than Noah last time around. And as you said before, this is really holding Noah up a lot. He's 33 seconds down from the lead.
Yeah.
And had a little bit of a look on the inside of the Calford Chemtech corner, but opted not to make the move. And we saw through this section people going side by side. And these rivers,
Oh,
I
saw that Lime or Audi of Gibbs back there, getting a bit out of shape. I think he saved it. No, he didn't save it. He's off the track.
No,
he's
yes,
lost one. I think he only lost 1 or 2 positions, but yeah, he's been off the track and around a little bit on the grass there.
Whoops! Yeah, so easy to do, and it feels so horrid as well, because a lot of the time you're much slower than you're used to being in these GT3 cars, so it just feels really clumsy. It feels even worse when you go through that kind of incident, but that's the nature of wet weather racing. Storm nearly 9 seconds ahead of Jarnier now. Pace just has not let up at all.
Yeah,
at the front.
He's the only man running in the 25s at this point.
Yeah, and he's been in the 25s almost every lap since he got the lead.
Absolutely. Oh, and here potentially comes the move for Speed Demon. He was looking to the inside. He's gone to the inside of that King. But Noah's been able to keep more speed with the outside line, though. Speed Demon hanging in there through the second corner and getting a better exit as well. Noah dropping down to P6, of course. Noah still needs to pit, but Speed Demon getting through and getting himself that clean air that will allow him to push on. And now Dahidi will be hoping to do the same so that he can keep up with Speed Demon for in the battle for what should be the net battle for a podium here, with these guys being the current leaders out of the guys that have pitted. But of course, Noah and Plus the top 4. We're still waiting for them to come in for the mandatory stop. We expect Storm and Jardier to still be in the top 2 after that happens. But you never know. Either of them could mess something up in the pit lane. And Jardier actually is in the pit right now.
He is indeed. Second place. Jardier has opted for now to come in. So we'll see. Assumedly, he's not going to be in the pit lane for particularly long. Popsley is actually getting close to Scott, rather. I've just realised. So the Audi is closing in on that Mercedes. for, at the moment, that is now a battle for second.
I wonder if that could be for next sixth maybe, because I feel like Yuan has lost a little bit of pace since he pitted. So maybe they could come out ahead of him, and or at least close to Yuan.
Quite possible. My wife just handed me a bowl of biscuits. Fabulous.
Wow. Well done.
That was rather unexpected. Oh, crikey, that was a slightly unusual line by Popsy there. I'm not sure whether he's trying to stay in the slipstream or he's avoiding the same things that Scott was.
Yeah.
The very sudden change of direction there.
So you can see the rainbow Lambo behind, and then behind him is Jadier, having come out of the pits, and he is still ahead of Speederman as expected by about 6 seconds. You can see Speederman in the background there, coming around the second corner. So no change. Speederman still in the net third place.
Storm's in.
And the leader is into the pit lane. Of course, he had a 10-second at least lead to Jadier. We expect him to be easily keeping the lead of the race, barring any problems here. And that's a very quick stop as well. No tyre change or fuel adding for him. Just getting that mandatory pit stop out of the way.
Well, already on lap 33, as Popsu
this could
is
be
now,
this could be crucial in this particular battle. Popsu and Scott have been very close to each other. Have the better out and in lap.
Storm actually had 5 seconds still to spare before Scott crossed the line. That's just how much of a lead Storm has built up for himself. That is absolutely phenomenal. Jardier now back up to third. Also, something else has just occurred to me. No one has incurred a penalty yet.
That's actually amazing. Wow. Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen a race in Podcast 2, obviously, since they introduced that penalty system race. Well, I mean, of course, there's already been quite a few races in this game, but could possibly be the first race without a penalty. Of course, on this particular track, it's you're on the grass if you cut a corner. So
yeah, well, that's true. Your guess wasn't far wrong, actually. There, Fizzy probably came out in 8th after his stop. De Heidi, our former race leader, is still right with Noah. So Noah will have to pit at some stage, but it's difficult to tell whether. I don't think Noah's really holding De Heidi up, or it doesn't look like it's been the case up until this stage. It just seems that whatever pace De Heidi had early on just seems to have gone.
It's hard to say why. Really, it's not like he's suddenly lost his ability. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So last week, how amazing the pace he could run.
No, that's not. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking that was Yuhan behind Speed Demon, but no, it wasn't at all.
Yeah, but crucially, Yuhan's poor pace since pitting quite a while ago has dropped him the position to Popsu, who has jumped him, and that, of course, means that Scott is in the pit right now. Will most likely come out ahead of Yuhan as well. Where will Scott be compared to Popsu, who was running right behind him when he came into the pits? Will Popsu be ahead, or will Scott still be ahead in what
could be close?
Could be a net 6th position, I believe. And he is ahead. Scott is still ahead of Popsu, who is ahead of Yuhan.
That was very, very close. So yeah, they've all slotted right behind Fab Iceman, who is in that 6th position, as you say. Wow, that got close.
Net 5th position, actually, I believe, since
with Noah pits now.
Iceman hasn't pitted and Noah hasn't pitted.
Yeah, indeed. So they're possibly the only 2 people yet to pit. That's absolutely fine. It's well within the rules, but they can't leave it too much longer. They do have to have. There has to be 5 racing laps completed. So the last opportunity to pit has to be on lap 39. We're on lap 35 now, so it is not leaving them that much time. That isn't Fab Iceman. That's directly behind De Heidi. Fab Iceman's 5 seconds down the road from here. Now, that's very sideways for De Heidi. They're half a second behind the Audi is De Heidi. So, and again, big moment there for the Z4. Just does not seem to be at ease with these conditions whatsoever. This has just gotten more and more and more wet, because again, even Storm's lap times seem to have fallen off from where they were. I mean, he's still in the 25s, but only just now, whereas he was starting to think about challenging for the 24s before the stop. So it could be that the conditions have just deteriorated that much more.
Yeah, I mean, the rain is still checking down, isn't it? I mean, on the weather forecast, it said that it could be a chance that he could dry up to just being overcast. But at the race, there's the Heidi! Has lost it on the pedal! And he's saved it though, he's kept the position. Oh, that is a good save to lose as minimal time as possible, considering it was far off onto the grass. But as an easy mistake to do, it looked like the car just snapped on him completely through that pedal. Nothing he could do, apart from of course saving it once he was on the grass.
So here's a battle, and this is a battle for 8th position. Scott, Popsu and Johan. You can see how heavily that blue Mercedes is having to defend from Popsu. And of course in Johan as well. Oh, Johan throwing on the inside. Big impact between the two. That's not gone well for them. Although Popsu has managed to keep it going. That was quite a big clunk actually between the two Audis. So they've both been through the pits as well. So whatever damage they incurred from that impact, they're going to have to carry that for the next 9 laps. So that could be very troublesome. Maybe absolutely nothing at all. But look how determined Popsu is. Now look at the outside. Coming through that final turn. He's still on the outside of the blue Mercedes. And, oh, that's someone getting out of the way. I think that's was
that Noah? I think it was Noah.
Oh, it was Noah. Yes, it was. You're right.
He's still
it wasn't a lap car at all. And Popsu has managed to nose ahead. Oh no, he's still side by side. We can't see him from that camera. Oh, for God's sake, cameraman.
Oh, there he is.
Oh yeah, that's Popsu. Has been a nudge between himself and the Mercedes. They're still side by side. They've been that way for quite a while. Bit of an impact between the two.
Oh, he's on the curb and he's on the grass. Oh, and he's on the back of Scott, who's actually not gone off track. I thought Scott would fly off the track from that, and Johan saving a slide as well through that kink. Scott staying ahead. Popsu dropping the position just from being forced a little bit onto that curb. Nothing illegal from Scott there with his defending. I mean, there was enough space, but Popsu didn't have a choice but to put the wheel on the curb, and that put him completely out of shape and dropped him to currently 8th place.
That's brought Gibbs into this battle as well. That Renault behind is Berserky. He's actually last in the runnings, so not in. Oh,
Ewan's going for the move. Is that Ewan side by side with Scott? For 5th place it is indeed. He is side by side. He's got his nose ahead into the next corner. He's on the outside. Can he keep it on track? Yes, he can. What a move. Again. And it's Ewan this time making it work. Scott dropping as well. Ewan making 2 positions in very quick succession.
Very well held in these conditions. And now coming through the rocks again. There's a bit of damage on my screen on that particular car, but I think there was a few lag moments for me. So I think some of these cars have twitched to where they actually shouldn't have done. That's Noah and Gibbs both bringing their cars into the pits now. They're leaving it fairly late, but it's still legal. So that now makes this a 3-car battle. Johan leads Scott, leads Popsu 6th, 7th and 8th. And yeah, it doesn't look like that Mercedes is ready to let him go just yet.
Certainly not. This is a great triple battle here. After the front, of course, we saw that massive 4-way scrap at the start of the race between the front for you, and now the battle's here, and that is Popsu going through, is it? Because, yes, Scott has had a big moment. Oh, and a bigger moment! Johan! Has he collected Popsu? No! Popsu has managed to make it through. Johan blocking the middle of the track there, a Renault getting out of the way, a lap down, and Johan dropping both of those 2 positions that he just made.
Oh, all that hard work gone in an instant. Wait, just one simple mistake and all that time he'd gained is just gone. I mean, it's not a lot of on-track time that he actually gained, but how hard he had to work to get it, that has just been thrown away. What a great shame, but he's straight back on Scott.
Oh, he's locked the rears.
Oh, no! That's again, I wonder whether he has got damage to that car, because it is now becoming very, very difficult to handle for Johan. He remains in that 8th position. Ironic, is another 6 seconds down the road. So yeah, no other mistake then from Scott. So he's now got a lot of breathing space to try and bring that car home.
Wow, a lot of action all of a sudden happening here in the battle for 6th position. At this point, when we are almost 5 laps from the end of the race, reaching the end of the mandatory pit stop window, has Fab Iceman actually pitted, I wonder? Because
good question. Let's see if he does this time.
Have to
He's
see.
in the wrong place, right?
If he hasn't pitted, he's suddenly brought us Porsche in to 5th place from nowhere. We will have to wait and see. And who's that?
Oh no, that's Popsu!
Popsu!
He's gone horribly wrong. He He's lost it on the way down to the Kelford Chemtech corner. He's lost that position to Johan. There's a lot of slipping and sliding going on with those Audis at the moment.
Wow, is that the conditions getting worse, or are the tires getting worse, or a mix of both? It's hard to say, but a lot of mistakes certainly happening.
Yeah.
Certainly for Johan and Popsu, both having huge moments here in the closing stages of the race. Fab Iceman still running out on track in P5. Is this the final corner they're coming into? I believe it is. It's not in. And was that someone going in behind him?
No, there was someone going very wide.
Yeah, that was very wide.
I thought for a second there was someone going in, but no. So no, Fab Iceman's not brought his Porsche in. So either he's done it, we've completely missed it, which is of course possible, or he has not obeyed that particular rule, and he's not served the stop. So that will be one for the stewards to sort out later.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt at this point. I would say that he has actually pitted, but if he hasn't, then I'm sure the steward will be on his case. Obviously, it's quite a major time gain you would get from avoiding that mandatory stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's assume the best for now and say that Fab Iceman has actually pitted, which means he is in 5th, and this battle is for 6th with Scott, and then this is for Ewan in 7th, Popsu just behind in 8th now. So these guys continuing their battle after they've just had those spins, and that is Popsu scraping the rear of Ewan's car. It just looks like Ewan couldn't get it turned in, and it's looking wiggly, running through a puddle. At least it's kept it stable through there. But Ewan, all of a sudden, he was looking very fast in this battle, and all of a sudden struggling with that car. As you said before, looks like a little bit of damage to the front of his Audi. Could have been from when he tapped the back of Popsu earlier on, before all of this craziness started happening. Oh, and Dinda's gone backwards. Getting out of the way for the Porsche though. He's dropping to 19.
I saw someone was stationary. I just guessed on who it was.
Oh, and Fab Iceman is in the pits. So this, yeah. So I guess if the leader's now in lap 40, this would be the end of 39 for him.
Yeah. So he has actually left it.
Yeah, it's just.
So that is correct then. Yeah, because of course the leader is on lap 40. He hasn't crossed the line yet. So this is actually correct. That's the very last chance he had to pit. So no, Fab Iceman has timed that correctly.
Okay, so let's see how far down Fab Iceman will drop. He will be behind Scott and Johan. And Johan is Scott has had a problem. I think Johan's gone ahead of Scott somehow. Scott as well. All of those 3 guys have had a spin now. And all of them have reunited on the track after they've had off-track moments. Popsus through to 5th place and, through to 6th place. Johan already went through. And Scott is, well, carrying more speed through that corner, but staying behind. And he's lost it, actually, from that tap.
Yeah, he got unsettled after that tap with Pops. He actually puts Fab Iceman, and actually ironic, he's right with the green Porsche as well. So there's a Lambo in that mixture. I think he's the lead Lambo, actually, come to think of it.
It looks like it, yeah. I don't think we have any.
There's Nagram in the background, so yeah, so Fab Iceman's still got a lot of work to do. We only have 5 laps left.
Funny.
4 laps left, beg your pardon.
Yeah, Smoky Puppy in the chat saying that Andrix wished he was in this race running his touring car BMW. Of course, he was the man of the wet weather in that BMW in the touring car league. As Fab Iceman is trying to make the move on Scott straight out of the pit lane, and he's making moves on the outside now of one of the corners. It's in this infield section, getting a much better exit as well. Fantastic stuff. Fab Iceman coming out with some momentum from his pit stop and up to 7th place.
I think Scott let them go. Yeah,
and he's in the pits. He's having a big problem here. Scott's going to drop a lot more positions. That is very unfortunate for Scott. Whatever problems he's facing.
That's got to be damaged, surely.
Yeah.
We've seen a few tussles with the Mercedes. He's going to stop and sit still. We know he's been through the pits already. And there you go. Yeah, he is actually getting damage repaired on that car. Oh, he does. Oh, he is underway, and so he wasn't stationary for long. But it was obviously enough to make Scott think about coming in.
Interesting. I think he's going to drop down to 14th position. No, he's still ahead of Van Ommen, actually. But Van Ommen could be coming close, not quite close enough. So Scott will be dropping down to 13th position. He has been running in the top 10 all race long until now. Unfortunate for him, but at least he's still on for some points. But it's quite crucial with his points as we have this season to finish. I know if you have the championship sort of aims to fight and ride the front of the championship, finishing in those top 3 or 4 positions at least is very crucial.
Andres has just spotted something. Scott's got no fuel. He's only got 1.6 litres. That's not going to be enough. Oh, no, that's why
is that why he went to the pits? But why hasn't he added more then?
Yeah. So it's not enough for him. No, that's nowhere near enough. He will not make it. He's got 3 laps and 1.5 litres to do it. I mean, he's down to 1.4 already. He will not make the end of the race. Oh no, what a shame for Scott.
That's gutting me. So, of course, was it Van Ommen that ran out of fuel on the final lap at Sonoma?
I think it was.
I think it might have been, and it looks like Van Ommen's going to gain a position this time from Scott. Running out of fuel.
Van Ommen was actually running well last week, wasn't he?
He ran out in the last lap. Well, I can't remember how well it was running, but yeah, certainly.
No, I think it was, yeah. So Storm then coming around the rock sweeper to begin lap 44, the final lap. What has been an absolutely thrilling time, and Scott's in Scott's in again.
He's going to have to get that fuel for the final lap. For the final 2 laps for him, actually, he says to say he's on lap 42.
So surely then he's going to, unless the picker just ignore him. Well, and they did. They ignored him. He's been sent on his way again. Oh, you get 1.5 litres now.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's going to be enough because Scott's on the final lap.
Yeah.
So Storm rather is on the final lap, so that should be enough. But that is absolutely humiliating for Scott. What a shame. He's been doing so well in that blue Mercedes, but that is going to drop him down the field. Popsy still fighting with Johan, though. This is for 5th, and Ironic still fights Fab Iceman for 7th. So they still have battling to do until the checkered flag. 25-1 by Storm last time around. An absolutely amazing pace by... Started in 2nd, has since he got the lead, he's actually 2/10 up, so he's at this rate he will break into the 24s.
He's not slowing down, is he? Storm's going to come around the final corner.
Has been unchallenged, unchallenged all race long, and predictably, of course, he didn't throw it into the wall. Your winner then, him Ruapuna from 2nd. He actually chose to slam on the anchors. I did 24.6. in that final lap. Wow. Brilliantly done by 15 odd seconds is this man Jardier. Great run. Obviously a big improvement on where he finished last time around. That will help his championship defense. Comes across the line to take 2nd place is ACR Jardier with Speed Demon. Poleman coming across the line in 3rd. He still is going to be quite happy with that. DeHeidi did hang on to 4th, but I think it's fair to say it's been a much bigger struggle. He's still flashing the sights, still quite happy with that as he crosses the line in the Z4. Johan is still fighting off Popsy. They are so close. Not even 0.2 of a second in it between these two.
He's going to have to go for it if he wants the position. Doing a dive into the final corner, but Johan leaves him a little bit of room, gets the momentum through the corner, and he's going to finish in 5th place unless somehow he spins on the straight.
Popsy had no choice. He had to at least make it. That's one way to finish.
After the line, at least.
Fab Iceman comes across the line in 7th in the radioactive coloured Porsche with Ironic in 8th. Nagram takes the line in 9th position with Noah rounding out the top 10 in the Audi. Gibbs is going to take 11th as he crosses the line, and 2 Desert Pack has already finished. He had no rear wing on that car, and here are the final confirmed finishes.
Wow, what a race. Storm winning the race in the end by 20 seconds and getting the fastest lap of the race with a 24.6. Shout out to Speedman in 3rd with a 24.7 as well on the final lap, I think. So he shows that he got his pace back from the start of the race and from taking pole. Jardier, the final man on the podium in 2nd. Decent race as well for the reigning champion. DeHeidi dropping down from leading the race for quite a bit to struggling a bit with that Z4 eventually, and still though a solid position with 4th. Johan in 5th after a couple of spins actually towards the end, but Popsu and Scott also threw some spins around. So Popsu's going to be 6th. Fab Iceman in 7th in the Porsche. Then the lead Lamborghini with Ironic in 8th ahead of Nagrom and Noah rounding up the top 10. Then the final points finisher will be Gibbs in 11th, Tudesapak in 12th, Van Ommen in 13th in the end, Nesterovic dropping down to 14th, I think that's a bit lower than where he started, Jinder in 15th, Steve in 16th, he was the first spinner we saw right at the start of the race, he at least recovered to some points. Then the Hunter in 17th, Scott, after doing 2 pit stops more than he would have wanted, he is in 18th position. Then Bo and Berserker getting the final points there. Col McCoy and Nick Meadow finishing the race, but unfortunately will not be rewarded with any points here. And then of course we had Zal and Villalobos and someone else. I do apologize to the last person that I can't remember right now, that didn't finish the race.
Indeed. Well, my lungs just about hung on. Apologies for the coughing. I'm still sporting a bit of a chest infection. That's why I've been coughing my guts up throughout the race. I've tried to point it away from the microphone. I wholeheartedly apologise for the ones that didn't quite get redirected. So we'll see if anybody wants to talk to us.
Yep. So, first of all, cheers to all the viewers that have stuck with us through this 44-lap race. Certainly was a very interesting one. A lot of battling going on in the wet. And now we will try to get a few of the drivers into the commentary box to give a little interview. At the moment, there is no one who has volunteered to come and join us. So we will see if anything pops up. Storm is in the Discord, at least. I could message him.
I just did that. So
Okay.
he didn't want to talk to us last week, as he knew how we got beaten, so he didn't want to have a chat to us. Which is fine. I can understand that.
Yeah.
We'll see if you want. I don't want to just drag him over. It's a little bit rude to just drag them if they don't particularly want to talk. But no one. Jardier has.
I'm shocked. Jardier wants to talk to us. I'm very surprised.
Yeah, that never happens. Whilst we get a response from Storm, should we have a word with Mr. Honzik?
Yes, I don't see any reason why not.
Jardier, are you hearing us, sir?
I'm hearing you, sir.
Well, what a race you just had. A little bit better than your result last week. How was that one for you, Mr. Honzik?
Why am I the only one here? Man, it was absolutely amazing race from start to finish. I really enjoyed the races in the wet. It's absolutely amazing. And I was a bit of lucky in the start, because Speedmon did a mistake in first few laps, and I gained the position also on Storm. And then I was fighting for quarter of the race with the Heidi, and then Storm did. I didn't like that overtake from him because it was way too aggressive. But I take it. It was bumper to bumper, but I take it. And then I was fighting with Heidi a lot, because from my point of view it was Heidi let Storm by, and then Heidi was slowing me down a bit for a few laps, so I was really tense there, and I was starting to getting aggressive as well on him. And well, I was really happy with the move finally on him and pulling away.
Awesome. I don't know what else to say. It's awesome to see your enthusiasm as always, and enjoying the races. Yeah, there was a bit of debate in the chat actually about the move that Storm did on you, but you seem to be taking it in the right way. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't completely clean, but it could have been worse, I guess, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing happened. I had no damage on the car, and nothing happened. I take it was more touring cars than GT cars, yeah. But the Storm had amazing pace, and he deserved go forward. So if it would be me, I would wait one corner and overtake anyway. But
yeah.
Doesn't matter. I think it was really beautifully executed in the end, and then the fight with Heidi was really awesome. I was enjoying that. But I think there was maybe a bit of a teamwork from my point of view, but I might be mistaken. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, of course, both TX3 drivers, even if they're not technically in the same team in this particular league. But yeah, a good sort of comeback result from you, I guess, getting back on the podium after finishing 6th in round 1. So where do you feel like this puts you? What are the rest of the season?
Maybe top 4, something like that.
Yeah.
I hope so, because I really my goal is to fight with Heidi and Storm. That's my goal for this season, because I really they are top drivers from Project Cars, and I really want to fight with them. And yeah, that's my goal. I don't care if I will be first or third. I just want to be with them on a racetrack the closest possible. And I really enjoyed the first 15-20 laps. It was absolutely amazing racing, and yeah, from my point of view, it was top.
Definitely.
And I think
Awesome.
that's exactly what Apex Online Racing needs.
Awesome, yeah. It was a joy to watch that battle as well, certainly when we were all that close together at the front the side of the race. So, yeah, well done on the second place, Jadier. Just for joining us once again. I expect we'll be seeing a lot more of you through the season as well.
I hope so.
Right,
Ah,
Storm Monster chat to us.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Doing.
Oh, I've grabbed him.
I was right in the middle of a conversation.
Yes,
You caught me by
that's-
surprise.
That tends to be what I do when moving people to the com box. TX3 Storm, wow, what a race from you!
Hi, yeah, man. This was absolutely incredible. The overtakes, the conditions. I mean, I drive in cockpit view, so this was even harder just to see where you were braking and turning sometimes, because at the moment I was in the middle of the pack and obviously I couldn't see anything. But yeah, this was fantastic.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, once you got into the lead, no one was anywhere near your kind of pace. So is that just down to setup? Was that down to practice? Are you more comfortable in the wet, do you think? Where do you think that difference lies?
Maybe all three, to be honest. Obviously, I had to practice a lot more the race compared to last time, and obviously, with the practice comes a better setup, which really fits my driving style in the wet. So I would say that all three factors came into this result tonight.
Awesome. And yeah, of course, after last week, you maybe feel like you lost out a little bit on the win after you were leading most of the race in round 1, but at least now you got that back. So your first win in AOR, how's that feel?
Feels good. It feels good, especially with the battle. And by the way, you're also very, very right when you say that kind of lost it at the last week's race. I was so disappointed, and I really felt like I kind of messed things up, I would say. So yeah, it's good to be back on P1, and hopefully next time the result will be the same.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how the championship battle continues between you and Jadier and Tidy and Speedman and whoever else feels like getting involved in that one. It's really great to see drivers of your caliber fighting it out at the front in the AOR league. So good to have you here, and well done on the win today. And
Thank you very much.
We will see you again, I'm sure, in the future races.
Yep.
Great stuff.
All right. See you later.
See you guys.
Right. Final interview, KK. Iceman sitting there patiently.
Why not? Let's grab Iceman. Hello, Iceman.
Oh, hello, welcome, King-Kodiak.
Hello.
And AOR Fizzy.
Hey.
We were a bit worried you were AFK. You've been sat very patiently in the ready to interview room. So
Yeah.
a fairly solid run from you in the Porsche. How was that one for you?
Well, I gotta be honest, getting 7th in the end is a pretty amazing result for me. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but I finished, I qualified 22nd, and
That's
I was
not that
dead
well.
last after I was dead last after I spun on the first lap. So I just tried. My goal was just top 15 at max. So getting 7th is pretty good.
Damn, that's a really strong comeback drive in that case.
Great
Have to
stuff.
say.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, but yeah, obviously, clearly, you managed to figure out something in the wet that worked well for you in the Porsche. Not many Porsches on the field. How is that car? Do you feel compared to all the Audis and the other cars going about?
Before the race, I had a feeling that the Porsche is pretty strong in the rain. I honestly thought it's stronger than the Audi, because I had some quite good experiences. But the practice and the qualifying were horrible. I was doing a lot of setup work in practice, and I figured that I have no chance lap time wise to catch up with the top guys. It's just nearly over a second or almost 2 seconds that is missing, just lap time wise. So that was quite disappointing, and that's why I just really aimed for top 20 or top 15 in the end. But yeah, the Porsche itself is quite tricky to drive. Engine sitting in the back. yeah, it has its complete own flow. It's sometimes it's hard to drive, sometimes it's really nice.
I see. Yeah, but you certainly made it work today with that drive through the field. If I knew that you started that far down, I might have given you a shout for driver of the day again. So that's very impressive indeed. So yeah, and a much better result than last week when you didn't finish the race. So at least now you got your championship underway in terms of points.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Awesome.
In that case, I think we will say well done for this race and wish you the best luck for the coming weeks.
Indeed. I think that's everybody, I would think.
Yep. So let's round off the stream then, I guess. So that was round 2 out of 10 here in the AOR GT3 league. Another great race. For both the first 2 races have been very interesting. For sure, and of course next week is gonna be even more interesting, whether we like it or not, because there is that new. Well, one of the changes for this season, of course, is the addition of 2 special rounds, where where we will not have a qualifying session, but we will have a grid order based on reverse championship standings, which is very interesting. And of course, the race will, in addition to that, be...
What did you say? Can you say it again?
Okay, someone has maybe not read the full
Someone's not read the rules.
but yeah, so round 3 and round 7 will be a race time of 1.5 hours, and the grid will be based on a reverse championship standings.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not so pleased about your position now, are you, Dave?
Should have had a bad race today, Jadier.
I think I was like four from the end, so it's not that bad.
So yeah, of course you will have more time than usual to make your way through the field, but yeah, that's bound to be a lot of action in that kind of
I
format.
look forward. It's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, clean action as well, with the fast guys trying to make their way through the field. And Jadier is already getting hyped up. So it sounds like that. So yeah, that's something. I mean, you have to tune in for that one, surely. The 30 guys are still watching. Make sure you don't miss that one, and whoever else is going to watch this broadcast later. If you hear this, there is nothing. There is no excuse good enough to miss next week's race, in my opinion.
Indeed,
So there's bound to be lots of action at. Let's see what track it is as well. It's Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, yes.
So
we return to the American soil.
So good opportunities there for overtaking as well.
Mm.
So bound to be a lot of passing going on. Make sure you join us same time as usual. Be a slightly longer broadcast as well, of course, with that format. So 8 PM UK time next Wednesday. Of course, there'll be loads of broadcasts happening on AOR before that as well. You got iRacing on Friday night. You got potentially R Factor on Saturday. I'm not quite sure if they've got a break week, but there could be some R Factor action going on Saturday night as well. And then, of course, the F1 leagues on Sunday. But yeah, next week, Wednesday, we will be back again with round 3. Special round of the AOR GT3 League. So, KK, thank you again for joining me in the box.
Always a pleasure and never a chore. Thank you to those that have been with us throughout the stream. It is always a great pleasure to have you along for the ride.
Indeed. So thanks to everyone who's watched this broadcast. Join us next week, and we'll see you then. Good night.